Animals have been used to test cosmetic products across the globe for hundreds of years. The cosmetic industry has been negatively impacted by reputation by these cruel investigations due to the chemicals which can potentially cause damage to the species. Because of the cruel treatment of animals in the experiments, laws have been established against these tests. Additionally, activists support organizations against animal testing which cause decreased business in cosmetic companies. This has led to the use of alternative methods within companies to ensure their product tests are accurate without using animals. However, cruel, dangerous tests continue to be the most common used method in the industry and involve several chemicals and fatal to animals in the labs.
There are a number of tests worth mentioning that can be used to clarify what animals are actually going through. There is usually a large number of animals being injured and/or killed. The LD50 test measures toxicity and is a test in which a group of animals are exposed to the product until half of them are dead. According to the Humane Society's list of tests used for cosmetics, the inhalation toxicity test is a test in which a rat is placed into a tube and forced to inhale the substance. She may experience bleeding of the nose, convulsions, paralysis, seizures, and/or death. This tests the amount of the product that needs to be inhaled for 50% of the animals to die after lengthened exposure. Another test, the Draize test, is a test in which the animal's eyes are stretched open and the product is force dripped into their eyes. This measures the irritation. It may result in ulcers, blindness, or bleeding. These few cruel procedures are only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to animal testing. There are a slew of experiments that can result in injury, mutation, and even the death of animals involved. There are not many regulations of animal experimentation either, which leads to the even worse treatment.
These tests and experiments are extremely detrimental to animals' well-being. Effects on animals include being burned, shocked, poisoned, isolated, starved, and drowned. They are trapped in cages and wait in fear for their next experiment. Painkillers are not required to be used by the United States law. Therefore, many animals experience pain for hours on end. Animals are not only experiencing pain, but they are also subject to mental stress and feel extreme discomfort. According to News, in 2009, an undercover lab investigation revealed monkeys frantically spinning around in their cages, biting open wounds, mutilating themselves, and ripping out their own hair, all because of chronic psychological distress they must endure. Animals are abused for humans' purposes while disregarding that animals have several characteristics similar to humans. In another experiment, 150 baboons suffered brain damage as a result of hydraulic equipment smashing against the baboons' heads to stimulate whiplash. The animals being tested consist mostly of mice and rats. However, dogs, cats, rabbits, and other monkeys were used. They are harmed and abused to test these cosmetic products for human benefit. Many people believe that animals should be treated with the same value of life, and animal testing is cruel and unnecessary. These tests that harm animals cause activists to form organizations to take action against these ruthless experiments and fight for the superior treatment of animals.
Two of the largest organizations run by animal rights activists include PETA and the Humane Society of the United States. PETA Animal Rights Organization has a loyal 2 million followers that have vowed to boycott cosmetic products. In the past, activists used rowdy protests to prove their position, but have discovered alternative methods that yield greater results. Such tactics include shock advertising, graphic videos, and social media to spread awareness regarding their point of view. Shock advertising is a common method used in the animal rights industry, using slow videos with graphic images to capture and persuade the audience. Additionally, in recent years, social media has fulfilled a large percentage of animal liberty publication. Each of the top 10 animal rights organizations have a Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube for rapid communication and to extend information to younger generations. The Humane Society has instituted a project called Be Cruelty Free. This project is a large campaign in history with the goals to ban cosmetic testing on animals. According to their studies, 73% of Americans and 81% of Canadians are in favor of phasing out animal testing. This campaign has also accomplished a trade ban law in 28 countries around the world that are hard at work with the United States government. These organizations strive to make a change in the cruel cosmetic industries of our country, take action in creating new laws, and interacting with the U.S. government to protect these endangered species.
The FBI classifies animals as a cruelty-free felony, and there are certain acts against animal experimentations, such as the Animal Welfare Act, which is a federal law that addresses the standard of care for animals received at our research facilities. Labs are not required to report non-AWA protected animals. Major companies had turned their backs completely on animals testing and no longer use ingredients that were tested on animals, and a number of animal tests have been completely replaced with a superior, cheaper, and more effective non-animal methods due to these enforced laws. The worldwide ban of the animal-tested cosmetics, raising awareness of the cruelty that goes in these laboratories, puts governments and politicians to introduce a compassionate legislation. The European Union law was fully implemented that made it legal to sell animals test cosmetics in Europe, even if the testing was done outside of Europe. Some countries even test their products on animals in other countries to avoid breaking the law. In the United States, the earliest animal protection law was also called the 28-hour law, limiting confinement of farm animals in the train while being used across the country, according to Bernard Umty. 95% of these animals are not protected by law, so the Humane Cosmetic Act was passed as a federal law and the end of cosmetic testing on animals in the United States. The law acts that have been enforced around the world against animals and experimentation have compelled scientists to create alternative methods for these products.
It has been a challenge to find alternatives to animal testing for certain experiments, yet new methods of testing are constantly improving and being discovered. One of the most commonly used alternatives is a method called in vitro, which involves the use of human cell or tissue to test products and see how it would react to the human body. It has been proven that using human tissue is more accurate than animals in the lethal dose 50 test, also known as the LD50 test. This test involves animals ingesting a toxic substance to see what degree the cosmetic product is harmful to people and animals. During these experiments, 50% of the animals tested die, and the survivors of the test are later killed. The accuracy rate of the test using animals was about 61%, yet when human tissue was used, the accuracy rose to 85%. Not only were animals no longer harmed for this test, but the alternative method was more beneficial to accurately test products. Scientists are continuing to improve in vitro testing involving human metabolizing systems and human receptors to make the outcome as accurate as possible. There are also kits called EpiSkin, which contain reconstructed human skin that can be used to test cosmetics. Positives for these tests include availability for a large amount of samples and a reduction of global costs. Other examples of alternatives include in research include clinical research, in vitro, in silico techniques, human cell and tissue cultures, stem cell methods, advanced imaging methods, and safe human-based studies. The alternatives to animal testing being used are beneficial because they keep animals from being mistreated during experiments and accurately trial cosmetic products using other methods.
Therefore, product testing on animals is not advantageous for the examined species, the animal rights activists, or the cosmetic industry. Alternative methods are available, however, not commonly used due to economic principles and the demanding process. Traditional experiments for new cosmetic products include the cruel treatments of rodents and other species that cause harm to their well-being. These harmful treatments cause animal advocates to take action against these companies. Actions include protests, social media awareness, and boycotting tested products. These requirements cause the government to get involved with cosmetic industry experiments. Laws are being created across the globe to ban these tests and to save the animals in danger. To conclude, animals are deliberately harmed for human preference and cause uprising in activist populations. Laws are being created, and the cosmetic industry faces an immense negative impact.